In the middle of World War II, a secret project began that would forever change the idea of dominance within the world. It was known as the Manhattan Project, a scientific and governmental effort that would culminate in the creation of the most devastating weapon ever made, the atomic bomb. World War II began on September 1st, 1939, and ended on September 2nd, 1945. It was rooted in the unresolved tensions and consequences from World War I. After the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was left economically and politically devastated, with a huge loss of colonies, heavy wartime reparations, and a loss of nationalism. This environment led to the development of authoritarian regimes across Europe, most famously Adolf Hitler's Nazi Party. Meanwhile, the global economic crisis of the Great Depression destabilized nations, leading to widespread poverty and political unrest. Due to this, militaristic ideologies gained traction in other countries, including Japan and Italy. This all came at a head when Germany invaded Poland in 1939. Britain and France officially declared war, henceforth, the beginning of World War II. The foundation of the Manhattan Project was first made in 1939 when the U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt received a letter from Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard. It was warned them that Nazi Germany discovered how to split an atom and achieve nuclear fission, creating the possibility of an atomic weapon. This warning spurred the United States to act first, thus starting the Manhattan Project.
In the course of the last 4 months, it has been made probable, through the work of Joliet in France as well as Fermi and Szilard in America, that it may become possible to set up a nuclear chain reaction in a large mass of uranium, by which vast amounts of power and large quantities of new radium-like elements would be generated. Now it appears almost certain that this could be achieved in the immediate future. This new phenomenon would also lead to the construction of bombs, and is conceivable to the much less certain the extremely powerful bombs of a new type may thus be constructed. The letter showed the seriousness of the situation, as Einstein, usually a pacifist, supported the warning, knowing that would lead to the United States developing these kinds of bombs. He just feared that the bombs being used in the wrong hands, like Nazi Germany.
With a massive initiative on their hands, the project needed to find experts and locations for the development of the bombs. These individuals included head scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and was under the direction of General Leslie Groves. They then chose very remote locations to work on and test their weapons: Hanford, Washington, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and most famously, Los Alamos, New Mexico. Here they worked through the theoretical and practice challenges of creating a weapon based in nuclear fission. They then settled on plutonium and uranium being the key elements in achieving the level of power they needed for the bombs. As the project went on, scientists started to debate if they should continue to proceed with the project. They worried about the potential consequences on the area and environment that came with the tests. And some workers began to regret what they started. These concerns, however, were drowned out by the urgency that came with this initiative. Despite the warnings, the project continued. The first test, known as the Trinity test, was scheduled at Los Alamos on July 16, 1945. In the barren desert of Los Alamos, the world was hit with a blinding flash. At 5:29 a.m., the world changed forever because this was when the first atomic bomb detonated.
A crater from which all vegetation had vanished, with a diameter of 1,200 feet and a slight slope towards the center, was formed. In the center was a shallow bowl, 130 feet in diameter and 6 feet in depth. The material within the crater was deeply pulverized dirt. The material within the outer circle is greenish and can be distinctly seen from as much as 5 miles away. The steel from the tower was evaporated. 1,500 feet away, there was a 4-inch iron pipe, 16 feet high, set in the concrete and strongly glued. It disappeared completely. In his letter to the Secretary of War, General Leslie Groves describes what he saw during the Trinity test. He's speechless by the blast and says that their expectations were blown out of the water. Groves, who oversaw the construction of both the Pentagon and the Manhattan Project, said that he no longer considered the Pentagon a bomb-safe structure after witnessing this explosion. He described it as a terrifying display of power, and that power of that magnitude should only be reserved for God himself. Oppenheimer himself famously said after the test, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Just a few weeks later, the U.S. ended the Pacific Front and World War II as a whole with the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Over 100,000 civilians were killed instantly, and thousands more died from radiation in the aftermath. The Manhattan Project brought an end to World War II, but it also launched another large conflict, the Cold War. It spurred the start of the nuclear arms race and the ever-looming threat of nuclear annihilation. The Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb serve as a symbol of the two-sided coin of humanity. The capacity for great creation and great destruction. From the project to the bombings, it tells us not only a story of warfare, but a warning to all mankind.